So what happens when two third-generation Arizona women authors who are passionate about their state start talking about experiences, insights, and memories of different places? They don't stop talking. They write a book, and then they start a podcast. Welcome to Celebrating Arizona with Julie Morrison and Lisa Schnebly Heidinger. Grab your favorite drink and settle in. We're celebrating Arizona, going everywhere from A to Z. And we're off.
Hello.
Hello. Here we are again.
Here we are again, Lisa.
Julie.
Wonderful to see you.
And you, and hello, listeners, by the way.
Yes, we cannot see, but I'm sure are wonderful.
I'm sure they're wonderful.
They're
How could they not be wonderful?
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
they're
Okay.
here.
But yes, by default, here is wonderful.
And we've had a little bit of time lapse that we weren't together. And during that time, I got to go out to Oceanside, California, where I've been going since right after high school, I guess. And it was lovely, and it's always good to be home. When you cross the border into Arizona and you see that big Welcome to Arizona sign, and I know how much you love the ocean, does part of you still go, yes, when you see the big Arizona sign?
No, but only because it means that I have 4 more hours of driving.
That's a pretty good
So,
reason to not be
yeah.
enthused.
So so I don't know. It's a little like being given a Christmas present on December 1st. Like
Oh, interesting.
on the good, like on the bright side, here's a present. On the, on not so bright, you gotta wait. So it's a little like that.
I get
Yeah.
that. I get
Yeah.
that. This year I wasn't paying attention for 30 seconds and missed the river. I always like seeing the Colorado as we come over.
I
But-
do too. It's
yeah.
one of my favorite places, and
Oh.
actually where I'm going to take us today when we're ready to go. So, but
Perfect.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know what? I think we should get to it then, because that segue was too perfect to not use. So, speaking of the Colorado, Julie,
Yes,
what do you
what's-
have for us today?
Yes, speaking of the Colorado, I will speak of the Colorado as it flows past West Wetlands Park in Yuma. There is an East Wetlands Park and there is a West Wetlands Park. And if you exit and drive around a bit, and I don't know, it involves 4th Street and other things, reading your GPS. And you go to West Wetlands Park, there is a wonderful pond where I have seen herons fishing. And that's sort of in the manicured part of the park. But then there is just this wonderful riverside with cottonwoods and silty ground, and the river rushing by, and it's its own kind of beach experience. And you can walk for what in loose sand probably feels like miles, and it might actually be a mile, it might be less, but that is a favorite place to stop, especially in the winter season. When I can stop like midday and go for a walk, that's a favorite thing to do, whether I'm going. Yeah.
Especially with a dog then, too.
Yes, exactly. Especially in with dog travel. And that's, they're very happy when we stop there. And their being happy makes me happy. So it's good for everybody. And it occurs to me that for people who don't know Arizona well, it is a complete contradiction in terms to think beach and river and Yuma all in the same sentence.
Well, I was going to say I would have lost money if somebody said, okay, yes or no, cottonwoods in Yuma? I would have
yeah.
said, nope.
Oh, yeah.
Because even though there is river, clearly water, I think of cottonwoods as a little cooler climb. Although I had one in my backyard for a while, so I guess that doesn't wash. But anyway, no, I've not noticed them from the road, and so clearly that is an undiscovered gem for a whole lot of us who like to feel like I've been to Yuma and I've spent time in Yuma, and I've gone to no, it wasn't the Latin Quarter, but a bar, and I've interviewed NAU alumni in Yuma, and but I've never seen West
Wetlands Park.
or
Yes, in
East
Yuma.
Wetlands Park.
Or East Wetlands
Now,
Park.
have you seen
yes.
East or so far?
I have. I
and-
have been to both directions of park.
And
And
west is better because,
I think it's just larger.
okay.
East is feel like east sort of connects maybe the prison historic park. I'm sorry. This is my dog that is growling in the background,
It's
being
okay. I'm glad you're
so
not
happy
hungry.
to be. Yeah, right. She's rolling around on the carpet, scratching her back.
I
Which is
think,
also something she would do on the grass in West Wetlands Park. And so if we're going to talk about doggy playtime, she's going to
see,
provide the sound effects.
we
Yeah.
mentioned doggies. Yeah.
And
She had to come in. Cue the
and there we
dog.
go.
There we go.
There's the cameo.
Yeah.
So I think East Wetlands Park it sort of wraps around with the river and puts you up into the sort of between the River Historic Park and the Territorial Prison area. It sort of connects those two, and nothing wrong with that. The West Wetlands Park is just on its own
Okay.
that I know of.
Okay.
And there's a boat launch, and there's like wonderful like tot lot. I've seen mothers there, like mothers grouped with strollers and
Nice.
dogs and kids. And I feel like any park that attracts groups of mothers is a really good park.
Because those would be the most harsh critics, wouldn't they?
I would think so.
And
yeah.
if children were prone to running into the water and getting swept away, they wouldn't go. So it's been
Yeah.
kid tested.
And the thing is that this park is, I mean, you are inland from the river on many of the trails and sort of play spaces. But then if you want to actually go touch the water, you can. You can walk yourself there. And but as a family, it's not as though you're trying to keep your kid from crossing a busy street, or or need a pool fence or something between you and this thing, because there is separation because of I suppose what was river bottom, that this trees and the cottonwoods and willows and this treesy shrubsy area between river and play areas.
Well, and people who know a lot more about hydrology than I do, which is pretty much everyone over the age of 3, have told me that a lot of rivers in Arizona are flowing underground even when they're not flowing above ground. And I would speculate, and that's all it is, that probably there would still be underground water, or at least leaching of water underground farther than the river itself would extend,
Yes,
which maybe continues to feed cottonwoods and
yeah.
things
So
like
the
that.
riverbed looks like a twin, but is probably just a calking in some,
Good
in some way.
metaphor. Nicely
Yes,
done.
good.
Nicely
Okay.
Colorado River, do you remember
Colorado
that
River.
they used to have tugboats that would go up the Colorado?
Tugboats and steamships.
That's right, little paddle wheels.
Yes, paddle wheels. Exactly right.
Yeah.
That blew my mind, to think of the Colorado River as somehow a sibling in experience to the Mississippi River with paddle, but was just, wait a minute, how can this be? That happened. There was river commerce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which then evokes ladies in parasols strolling along the paths and gentlemen with cheroots walking by and things like that.
Oh, let's all stop for the cheroot. What is a cheroot?
Oh, now I'm
Let
in trouble.
us go no further.
I think a cheroot is a slim cigar, like a cigarillo.
Okay.
I think.
Going back to the big picture, steamboats on the Colorado River did seem a mismatch to my understanding of Arizona. Yeah.
I think at the very least, the Yuma Chamber of Commerce owes you a T-shirt for that lovely little commercial. The celebrity endorsement, you just gave it, the promotional material.
And so with that, we can probably safely take a break. Look forward to where you're going to take us when we're back.
Hi, this is Abby Smith. When you think of what we eat here in Arizona on a regular basis, fresh fish isn't necessarily the first thing that comes to mind, but maybe it's time to change that. Chula Seafood is a family-owned restaurant and fish market here in the valley with 3 locations, and much of what they sell and serve is fresh off the boat in San Diego. They have happy hour and daily specials and amazing fish tacos, so you can have the best of both worlds all in one place.
Welcome back.
Hello.
And now we are going to go south and east Actually, appropriately, water again, or still Patagonia. We're going to Patagonia. And the
That's a
reason,
place I've not been. I would love to go to Lake
no, you did.
Patagonia.
Oh, lake. Okay. You've been
Lake,
to Patagonia, but not
I
the lake.
have.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
because we went to Patagonia.
we did.
But yeah, it's a lovely little lake, or at least it was last time I was there. And the reason I think that it occurred to me that we should drop by is that when I was in Oceanside with family and loved ones, Michael Riley was in Oceanside with us. And we actually got Oceanside as a concept from Michael Riley because his dad took that family every summer to the same place. And then when I was through college, my family finally had enough money to be able to go there too. And so
Mm.
Michael was there, and being with him reminded me of the trip to Lake Patagonia. Just a little bit of background: we were in high school together, Catalina and Tucson, go Trojans. And he was my putative boyfriend because we were always together, doing everything all the time, and we had the best time. We laughed, and we would go to grocery stores late at night and laugh so hard we would fall over in the aisle by the Scrapple, which I don't think is sold in stores anymore. And we made our friend John Moore a beanbag chair, a full size, honest to God, brown velvet beanbag chair. And we just did everything except, and as an adolescent girlfriend, this mattered hugely, except make out. There was no
Ah.
romance there. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was because I was not nearly worthy of said romance, even though our other friend Betsy and I would spend a lot of time saying, "Do you think Michael might be gay? Could he be gay? I wonder if he's gay."
Mm.
Well, come to find out, yes, yes, he is, which was wonderful for all of us because he's really happy and he loves his life and it's an amazing life and he travels the world all the time because of an internship he got in high school with American Airlines.
Oh, wow.
And therefore, when I went to London, I could safely stay with Michael Riley and nobody, lifted an eyebrow over a teacup
Mm-hmm.
because, yeah, hey, the guy's gay. Uh, One of my favorite people. He's really part of the family. He's truly part of the family. So
He
one
is.
of
The
our
number of
adventures,
times I've heard
you've heard
his
the name.
name in your
Okay.
stories. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
absolutely.
So Patagonia was just us. Sometimes it would be us and Betsy and Rick, or us and Betsy, and this was just us. So that felt like, oh my gosh, it's Michael and I together, and that made it even more exciting. We went early in the morning because we wanted to have time before it got blistering hot, which believe me,
Mm-hmm.
it did,
Mm-hmm.
and got as far as Patagonia, the town, starving. I don't know why we didn't think about food. Hey, should there be a picnic? Shall we bring snacks? Nothing. And I have no idea what we were thinking. But we get to the little market in Patagonia thinking, oh, thank God there's a market. Finally we can eat. And it's not open yet. I think it was 6:30
Oh,
maybe.
sad.
And we just stand there looking. And as we're staring at the doors, what should pull up but a hostess truck?
Oh my gosh.
And we're, sir, do you know what time the market opens? And whatever he says, it wasn't soon enough. But I bet we looked so woebegone that he said, hang on. And he reached in the back of his truck and he brought out 2 honey buns. And he gave
Oh,
us each and Michael reached for his wallet and he said, no, 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 have a good day. And Julie, those were just one of the best breakfasts ever. It was
I
so
love it.
kind and so unexpected and so sweet. And so then we spent the rest of the day saying, "Do you want to go in a paddle boat ride, honey bun?" Ha ha ha.
Yes, yeah,
So
right.
it's a very sweet memory, if you'll forgive that. Really fun. And there were other Arizona trips with Michael subsequently, which were important because what we knew about us was that the world was going to be his oyster and I was staying in Arizona. And at the
Mm.
time, that sentence ended because you'll never be successful, smart, or rich enough to do anything but stay in Arizona. And one
Oh,
summer, he went to Hawaii and I went to Winslow. And that pretty much summed us up. And I remember writing a poem called Mule Springs. Someday you'll be traveling the world and I'll be stuck in Mule Springs with only the laundry on the line to watch me cry, or something like that.
oh,
Um,
oh
I
my.
know, I know. And there is a Mule Springs Trail and a Mule Springs Drive in, I think, Forest Lakes and Green Valley, respectively. But there is no actual Mule Springs as a town. But he would give me a lot of grief for, my very narrow little life. And and he is, let me say, very, very proud of my life now. He he would feel terrible if he thought it made me feel terrible. But it is funny that he still travels the world, and I am all Arizona all the time. And when I went to London and I would say, "What's that bridge? What's that statue? What's that building?" He would always say, "Just some bridge, just some statue, just
Oh,
some
how
building." Didn't
funny.
care. Didn't care. So he let me take him to the Grand Canyon and Sedona and Flagstaff a couple of years ago. And bless his heart, he was actually interested, because he would have said if he wasn't, in a lot of the things you and I would find interesting about those
Mm,
places. So
hmm
that shows all of us can grow and change and learn to appreciate things we might not have been fond of at the time. And so I would,
Including yourselves. I mean, like, this is what's
oh, that's
sticking
interesting.
out to me about this story is that, yeah, the classic judgment of the 17-year-old, where you're the one who comes up shortest.
Oh, and one
Yeah.
more thing about Patagonia Lake, should you go, I didn't know till this, and boy, once you learn it, you don't forget. If you're going to be in the sun on a paddle boat on the lake between 11 and 1 and you don't have a hat, your
Oh,
scalp is going to sunburn so badly it will actually peel.
peel.
And I didn't, have you ever had a sunburn so bad your scalp peeled?
My mother had one on her honeymoon. She had
No.
braided cornrows into her hair, and they went to Hawaii. And when she came back, she was peeling.
Oh
She was peeling part of her.
no.
Yes, yes. So I remember that, and thankfully, I've never had anything like it
Good for
personally.
you. Well,
Yeah,
and see, you had somebody wise to say this can happen.
yeah,
Yeah, we were
yeah.
sitting in the. I can picture the choir room at Catalina, and Michael sitting behind me. Go, no, yeah, yeah. What's happening? And it was, a little public and very, very embarrassing and unfortunate.
Oh,
And I'm
how
sure I'm
funny.
still getting cancer from that today. But that
Well,
that was not Lake Patagonia's fault. And they did have little paddle wheel boats, and it
and
was.
I have heard from a stand-up paddle boarder that is a favorite destination.
I can see
I've heard from a few
why.
people in Southern Arizona that they love it there. And when I lived in Tucson, I just didn't make it, but it'd be fun to see.
That's it. I actually
Yeah.
paddleboarded in Oceanside and was afraid of I'm going to get on and I'm going to just run into the dock and fall off the board and it's going to be, terrible. And I got on and I ran into the dock and fell off the board. And then I thought, oh, okay, and got back on the board and actually had fun. But we were in a marina, and when a big boat came by, I would fall over.
Oh, the
So
wake.
I can see
Yeah.
why Patagonia would be very appealing for that, because little paddle
Yes.
wheel boats don't have much of a wake.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
I'll be darned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's what that is. And why don't we take a break and then come back for the mug and the question?
Sounds good.
This is Julie wanting to say a big thank you to the bookstores who have had my memoir, Barbed, a Memoir, on their shelves. It is, of course, available from Solstice Publishing in Flagstaff, but it has been or is on shelves in Changing Hands in Tempe, Antigone Books in Tucson, Brightside Books in Flagstaff, Peregrine Books in Prescott, and Barnes & Noble in Tempe and Chandler. Thanks so much, booksellers.
And we're back in time for, well, in our own time, really, but we're back.
Got all the time in the world.
Let's see, I think it was Dad's uncle who used to say, "You have all the time there is."
That's very
Isn't
expensive,
that great?
isn't it?
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
go a lot of ways, that saying. So
Okay.
so we have all the time there is. Okay,
Okay.
which we don't intend to use.
No, we
we
promise.
intend to,
You
we
can go
intend to
have
move
dinner.
on. Yes, yes, yes. But you have a mug to
I
share.
do, and it's such a perfect mug for today. And when I saw it, I thought, who would have dreamed this synchronicity? It is a mug from Tucson, from when I was 4,
Oh
and it
wow.
was made for the Shamrock Dairy and
Oh
given
my
to
gosh.
children who were on Romper Room. And Lori and I both got a Shamrock Dairy actual. I mean, you can see it's ceramic. I mean, the blue lining. It's a gorgeous little piece of artwork, and the ceramics. I mean, the shamrock on it is clearly hand painted. And the reason it's so perfect for this show is that when Michael Riley and I were in high school, I, by the skin of my teeth, and I know this is true, squeaked into the special elite little honors choir that got to go on field trips and perform places. Ensemble, it was called. When Michael was an ensemble for maybe 2 years. So we went to the Shamrock Dairy to perform for somebody. I don't know who was having a thing at the Shamrock Dairy, but they did. And afterwards, I'm in my green polyester palazzo pants with a waist length tie flutter sleeve outfit.
Yes.
And he's in his polyester, probably angel flight pants with the nylon shirt with the little, geometric squares.
Yes.
And we're strolling around looking at cows and all kinds of things like that. And a woman comes up to us and says, "I'm Mrs. Sewell." And we
Are
look at each
you?
other and we say, "Oh, we're Lisa and Michael with the choir." And she says something else and bustles on her way. And we both look at each other and just burst out laughing. And we're doubled over in the cow barn. And so for the rest of our lives, if somebody seemed a little too impressed with themselves, one of us would say, "I'm Mrs.
I'm Mrs.
Sewell."
Sewell. Yes.
It's a line that has endured lo these many, many, many years. And so the fact that it occurred at Shamrock Dairy and I had a mug specific to the occasion just tickled me.
Okay, so something about this. This is where it's kind of fun when Arizona feels like a small town again.
Okay.
Because it kind of did when I was growing up. It just was not the population boom that
Of
we've had many
course,
times since
yeah.
then. But we took field trips to Shamrock Dairy too.
You did not.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was so far away for you.
Well, there was only one Shamrock Dairy. We
my
took field trips there. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. But I need to ask you about romper room.
You didn't
Because
do romper room.
what is romper room?
Oh my goodness, you are so young. You little sprig of a girl. Romper room was
That's
was
when I've not been called sprig.
Romper Room was the show for children in the 60s. And it was a national syndicate, I think. I don't know if any network could do it, but I know that there was a Miss Jane in this market. And Lori and I got to go to K-Gun Studios, where Larry, my dad, worked, and be on Romper Room. I was 4. You were supposed to be 5, but I edged in because I knew a guy.
Nice.
Then some listeners, if they're even older than me, would remember Magic Mirror, tell me today which of my friends have come to play, or something like that. And then she'd hold up a mirror without a glass in it and say, "I see Julie and
Okay.
David and once she said Lori and Lisa when we were not on the show, and that was the first minute of our 20 minutes of fame in life. I mean,
Oh,
we
wow.
were somebody.
Yes.
And that was a big deal. And it was just a little morning show. And they had romper stompers, which was a little plastic cup that would go face down on the ground with a vinyl cord that you would hold in your hand. So you step up on these 4-inch cups and you can romper stomp around, kind of
Okay.
like you're walking in sand. It's
Yes.
a lot harder. And I
Yeah.
think mothers said, "Why don't you race, whatever on your romper stompers, because it would get a
Sure.
little bit more ginger out of a kid."
And so you are going to read for us
I'm
first
going to
today,
read first.
right?
Oh, and
Oh,
this
good.
is important.
Oh, good.
This is a special occasion, capital S, capital O, because for the first time, I'm reading from our book.
Oh,
Our U of A
yes.
Press
Jazz
published
hands,
book,
everybody.
jazz hands, jazz hands, called Arizona Friend Trips, Stories from the Road by Julie Morrison and Lisa Schnebly Heidinger. And it occurred to me, oh my gosh, Patagonia's in there. So I get to read out of our book to our friends at home or in the car or wherever the heck they are.
By all means.
And this is an outtake from the Patagonia story. So here we go. Even in midsummer, the 4,000-foot elevation gives us a sense of cool breezes. While some visit to see hummingbirds in nearby canyons, fewer than 1,000 souls live in the metropolitan area. If you're here, it's on purpose. It's a town in miniature, with several tree-lined streets in both directions and some tourist-based commerce. Patagonia doesn't offer many remarkable reasons to visit, but the one it has attracts international attention. Thanks to media, the Velvet Elvis has a circle of devotees far more widespread than most local restaurants can boast. The passion and brainchild of Cecilia San Miguel, this Italian eating establishment is named as an homage to paintings on velvet so prevalent just across the border, by which we mean south of Nogales. Julie and I can't stay at our table after ordering. We have to prowl the place and take everything in, saturated with jewel tones, elaborately carved wooden posts supporting huge beams. I yearn to move in and spend the rest of my life here. I'm sure I would be happy every day. Even well sated, we can't pass up vanilla rose ice cream with pistachio and saffron. How could you be under the same roof as a creation with so many lyric ingredients and not partake?
Don't tell us if you know how.
Well, and it was really good ice cream, as I remember. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think, yes, it was. I love that line of, if you're here, it's on purpose.
Oh,
I love
thank
that
you.
line.
Thank you.
Yes. And it's, well, because I think there are places, yes, I don't know, there's a difference between being in a place by chance or because you actually want something else and being there on purpose. I think that's a different and lovely
Oh,
mindset.
thank you. I like that.
Yes, thank you.
So where are you taking us?
Well, I'm going back to a river, sort of both road trip and river. And the title of my poem is Stop, Rest. So
Not
stop,
rest stop.
question mark, rest, period.
Okay.
When I am inundated, I seek water, wanting to pond or seep slowly into lake lounge. I don't want to river, have not mastered running without hurry, sure of my speed shortening nothing but patience. Whereas I resent them, rivers adapt to cycles, swelling then easing with seasons, never seeking to stop, rather taking a stretch or sitting for a spell without settling. Because, as creatures of flow, rivers verb. Again, always, endlessly. That's what we do as beings, but I want to noun now. Period. Sorry, that's my dog. A river would laugh at this, has certainly snickered at me as I've wobbled, grumbling, spilling my worries hunched on a rock as current slides by. Rivers are a living reminder. Journeys must be made lightly. Leave the leaden to molder, moss. Find rest in its own resistance. You trip forward, chuckling on.
Wow. I'm going to have to read that one on paper to take in all those words. There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot
I had
there.
some fun with that.
Wow.
Listeners, thank you for your patience today. My Luna dog has been clicking and wagging, and she's been sort of a third voice today.
But that's lovely. And you know, I
she
mean,
thinks
cinema
so.
verite. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
This way we don't have to record a dog sound and hit it every so often for special effects.
Yeah,
Luna,
right,
can you lick
yeah.
the mic? Well, you probably don't want to
Yeah,
lick the
there
mic.
we
Oh,
go.
it'll lick you, just
licking me.
Julie, but not the microphone.
Yes,
Maybe that's
okay.
a capture for Tom to put on the website. People can meet Luna.
Yeah. So thank you for your patience and, with the interruptions and backgrounds.
Well,
background
and
noise today.
so much fun as usual. Thank you.
Thank you.
And today we got to announce the book and talk about parasols and cheroots and all kinds of other things.
Cheroots. I'm just gonna guess that that Cheroots and Patagonia and rest stops have probably not been kind of the topics.
We'll give somebody
in the
$5
same
if they can send in a
conversation.
sentence that's already been written that has those. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
that's
that.
right.
I get
yes,
that.
absolutely.
Well, I will look forward to seeing you again as
Next
well.
time, yes.
Next
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you
See
all.
you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'd really like to hear from you about anything this show led you to think about. Write to us at celebratingaz.com. The wizard behind making a conversation into a podcast is Tom Heidinger. The music comes comes from Daniel Blatney, and I'm Dana Cooper.